Al-Nusra terrorists have shelled a humanitarian corridor which was just opened hours ago in a Damascus suburb. Now, this was established to allow civilians to leave the war-ravaged district of eastern Ghouta. Here are the latest pictures of the humanitarian corridor. The Russian military says civilians are being prevented from using it by the shelling. Now, eastern Ghouta is located just outside the Syrian capital. It's been occupied by various rebel and militant groups now for the past few years. We're talking about this region here. And the violence there recently escalated, with both sides accusing each other of targeting civilians. The new humanitarian corridor set up by Russia is located right here by the Al-Wafadin camp. Now, the humanitarian efforts to provide safe passage for those desperate to escape are being coordinated with the Syrian Red Crescent. Buses, ambulances, they're all on standby to evacuate civilians from the embattled area. People inside the rebel enclave are being notified about the location of the corridor via leaflets, text alerts, and even megaphone announcements. And we understand first aid points have been set up near the exit to help those in need of urgent medical assistance. However, despite these efforts, it is feared civilians will be prevented by the rebels from leaving the war zone, as Murad Gazdiev explains.
Civilians are dying. They're dying from rebel shells, from government bombs, from bullets, shrapnel and crossfire in Damascus and in East Ghouta. The UN ceasefire is dead on arrival. No one stopped shooting. So the Syrians are trying their own way. Humanitarian corridors backed by Russia. Thousands of these leaflets are being dropped over East Ghouta by Syrian helicopters. They're instructions for civilians on how to get out of the war zone. Maps with arrows. Follow them if you dare.
Women of all ages and children reportedly continued to be forbidden by local armed groups from leaving the area for security reasons.
They've done it before. In Aleppo, Islamist rebels wouldn't let anyone out. They shot at civilians trying to flee to government-held areas. They shelled humanitarian crossings. And if you made it out, they'd punish your relatives. Same story in Ghouta. This has been going on for years.
The evidence indicates that non-state armed groups in eastern Ghouta, and in particular Jaish al-Islam, are also responsible for inflating the price of food and other basic necessities there, arbitrarily restricting the movement of civilians wishing to leave, and abducting and arbitrarily detaining people.
You'd think this is important, right? All those pundits and activists screaming about Ghouta, and not once have they asked the pertinent question.
We welcomed the Security Council's decision regarding a ceasefire because of the burden on our families in eastern Ghouta. Their suffering must be lifted. We welcomed the decision to stop the bloodshed caused by the regime in eastern Ghouta.
When the regime is not abiding by the UN resolution, I cannot stand still and watch and not defend myself and our families in Ghouta.
Why are they still there? Despite their access to the spokesperson of the Army of Islam, the jihadist group that holds East Ghouta, they have not asked him why his group is blocking women and kids from leaving a war zone. It's good press for him to stand there and complain that innocents are dying, while admitting that they're dying because his own rebel fighters won't let them leave.
The armed groups inside East Ghouta will not allow those people to leave, simply because they know they will be the next target after that, and it will deprive them from a very strong media arm, because those civilians, the death among the civilians actually created a sympathy all over the Middle East and all over the world. I think humans are used as, a propaganda tools in this bloody war in Syria. So it will continue. I don't believe it will stop, but definitely this corridor, humanitarian corridor, actually could reduce the human casualties among those people.
The corridor will be open until 2 p.m. local time and then reopen again the next morning. Here on RT, we'll keep you fully updated on the situation in East Ghouta.